ॐ नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. ॐ. Dear friends, welcome to the story of Mahabharata. We were seeing a very interesting episode where the two sons of Shantanu, that is the first son Chitrangada, he died because he used to challenge everybody, he used to fight with everybody, and he fought with one Gandharva and he died. The second son Vichitravirya, he of course he married two girls. In fact, Bhishma secured the brides for him. He went to a Swayamvara and then secured the brides for him, and then he got him married. And then this man, due to overindulgence in sex, he also died. Then this mother was so upset, the mother, that is Satyavati. Satyavati is that same fisherwoman who married Shantanu. So she was so upset. Of course, she was also a person who was highly learned. She was highly learned in all these dharma rules, etc., all the rules of statecraft and all those things. And she called this Bhishma. Now, the entire responsibility of keeping up this dynasty, preserving this dynasty is yours. Because if you don't have children, your forefathers, they will go to all nether worlds. They will not attain heavenly worlds. You have to get children, and then you have to offer this pindam. You have to offer pindodakas to the forefathers. Only then they will go to the heavenly worlds. Then this man, now she is actually saying, we are at that situation. So chapter number 103. So there she is saying, Tayor utpadyata apatyam santanaya kulasyanaha. So our family, our kulam, our clan cannot go childless. So you please, you have to produce children through these two girls. And man niyogat mahabaho. Mat niyogat means I am actually appointing you. Niyoga. I was telling about this system called niyoga. Niyoga is a system where if the king dies suddenly, and in that emergency situation, the line has to be preserved. Then what has to be done? It can't be, the kingdom cannot be left just like that. So somebody who is close to the royal family, immediately next to the king, maybe the king's brother or some such person, or maybe a sage, could be invited, and then he was requested to produce children. And that was supposed to be a very sacred responsibility, not some lustful act. It was a sort of sacred responsibility. So she says, I am asking you, I am actually, man niyoga, I am actually, she is almost like a mother, she is ordering this Bhishma. So Rajye chaiva abhishicyasva bharatan anushadhicha. She is also saying, you become the king also. Rajye chaiva abhishicyasva. Abhishicyasva means you become Abhisheka. Abhisheka means that ceremony, that coronation ceremony. You have that coronation and you become the king. Dharanscha kuru dharmena ma nimajjih pitamahan. So you also marry, and then don't allow this kingdom to go childless, and don't allow your forefathers to go to hell. So ma nimajjih pitamahan. She told a very correct point according to the value system of those days. As per the value system of those days, ensuring the forefathers to go to proper heavenly worlds is the responsibility of the children also. So if I have to ensure my forefathers to go to heavenly worlds, I have to follow dharma. If I don't follow dharma, my forefathers will not go to heaven. So that sort of some sort of condition was there. So that is the reason why the people were always afraid. The people were always afraid to do any adharma, any unrighteous activity. So at least I am not talking about all the people, but that was the system. And the people who followed, many people they followed, many people might have violated. But the point is, it is that. That is, if I don't follow dharma, if I don't follow the dharma which was followed by my father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, etc., I am doing injustice. I am not repaying that Rishi Runam, Pitru Runam, and I am not ensuring their passage to heavenly worlds. So that is what this lady says. Then the Bhishma says, no, I cannot deviate from my promise. I have made, not promise, I have made a vow that I will not marry. I cannot now marry. I have also made a vow that I will not be the king, and I will not marry. So this I cannot withdraw. Asamshayam paro dharmah tvaya matar udahritah. He says, O mother, tvaya matah udahritah. O mother, you have told the right thing. You have told according to dharma what is right, you have told. There is no doubt about it. What you said is right. But rajyarthena abhishincheyam nopeyam jatu maithunam. But then I have taken a vow that I will not be the king and I will not marry. And nobody can shake parityajayam trailokyam rajyam deveshu vapana. Whatever happens, I will not change this vow. And now he says, Sa Satyavati Satyam te pratijanam yaham punah. I am again telling you, O Satyavati. Earlier he called her O Mata, O Mother. Now he is calling her by name, Satyavati. Why? Because Satyavati, in the name itself, that Satyam is there. Satyam means truth, truthfulness. Your name itself indicates that you have to be truthful. So you can't ask me to deviate from truth. So I have made a vow and I can't deviate from that vow. And there is some rhetorical lines saying, let the earth leave its property, and let water leave its property. Let fire leave its property. I will not leave my dharma. I will not leave my satyam. So such an unflinching, unwavering dedication or adherence to truth, such unflinching adherence to truth. So that is what we see here. Then this lady also says, again she pleads, she is so distressed, and then she says, apadharmam tvam avekshya vaha paitamahim thuram. Apadharmam, she says, this is apadharmam. There is what is called normal dharmam, there is what is called apadharmam. Normal dharma is all general rules for all general situations. But there is what is called apad. Apada, apada means danger. In some extremely critical situations, crisis situations, emergency situations. So in emergency situations, there are what are called emergency provisions, even in law, even in generally not law, even in for any rules. There are certain, not any rules. For example, suddenly a king dies. So in an emergency situation, what has to be done? So every constitution of any country, they do contemplate such emergency situations, and then they provide for that. Suppose a king suddenly, America, whether it is America, or India, Russia, or any other country, if there is a crisis situation, who has to be responsible? Who has to take the lead? Who has to be the leader? So that sort of thing. So she says this is apadharma. Apadharma is what has to be followed in a critical situation, in a distress situation. And in such distress situation, normal dharma may not apply. So you will have to violate, or you will have to forget normal dharma, and you have to go for a different rule, so that by violating this small dharma, you are looking at a larger good. So while violating a normal dharma, that is niyoga, for example, somebody's wife, another man should not cohabit with her. So that is a normal dharma. But in a critical situation, you are inviting a rishi, you are inviting a sage, or you are inviting another respectable person, and then you are asking him to cohabit with her. So that is something which is permitted. That is the emergency situation. So for larger gain, you can violate some principle of dharma. So that is what she says. Now, Shantanorapi santanam yathasya dakshayam bhuvi. Now she is saying this is the only situation this is the only point I can tell. And you are a person, you yourself, you know dharma. You are a master, you know all shastras. So you have to, please decide. You discuss with other elders and scholars, and you decide. Then this Bhishma tells Satyavati, oh, there is another practice also. What is that practice? In such critical situations, Shastras not only ask the Devara, what is called Devara means brother-in-law. The king's brother happens to be the Devara to the queen. Devara means Devar. In the word Devar also is there. Devar is brother-in-law. So husband's younger brother is Devar. Devarji, some songs are also there. So that Devar is, that is one option. The other option is you can invite a sage. So that is what Vyasa is Bhishma is suggesting. Bhishma he does not know Vyasa. But he is just suggesting there is a choice. We have to choose one good saintly person. So he says, Brahmano gunavan kaschit. I am reading from chapter 104. Brahmano gunavan kaschid dhanena upaniyan nimantriyatam vichitra virya kshetreshu yas samutpadayat prajaha. So he says, let us identify some good, very pious, say sage, so that we can invite him, and then we can invite him to beget children through the two wives of Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya kshetreshu. Kshetra, there is a term used here called kshetra. Kshetra literally means field. So in his field, let him produce children. So in his field means woman is said to be the field. And the person who is sowing seed in that field and then producing children, the child is called, if a child is produced, that child is called kshetraja, a person who is born in that field. So kshetra means a field, kshetraja is the person who is born in that. So suppose you let us take the case of Hanuman. Hanuman, we know his original father was Kesari and his mother was Anjana Devi. And according to the order of Brahma in Ramayana, he orders when Vishnu takes birth as Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. Vishnu, he takes birth as Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. Then Brahma, he tells all other gods, so you have to go, you also go, and then you with your Amsha, you produce children among Vanaras. Vanaras means all these monkeys, and then all Ruksha. Ruksha is all the bears, all that forest animals, you go and then you have to produce. So then all of them, they choose some Vanara women. Vanara means monkey women, and then some bear women, and they produce children. We'll just take a break and come back. Let us resume. So those gods, according to the orders of Brahma, they come back and then through various women, they produce children. And it so happens that Vayudeva, he sees this lady, Anjana Devi, and then through her, he produces this Anjaneya, what we call Hanuman. So Hanuman, with respect to his original father, that is Kesari, he is a Kshetraja Putra. Kshetra, because this lady becomes a Kshetra, field. And with respect to Vayu, for Vayu, it is the Aurasaputra. Aurasaputra means born to his seed, born to his semen, let us say, born to his seed, he is called the Aurasaputra. From his own Ura, Aurasa means born from one's own chest. So like that, you find Bhima also like that. Bhima, the original father is Panduraja, and that is Kshetraja. Bhima also is a Kshetraja with respect to Panduraja. Bhishma is Aurasaputra with respect to Vayudeva. So it is like that. So here he is saying Samutpadayat Prajaha. Then Satyavati, and we have to see what exactly is this Niyoga. Niyoga, we should not think that it is a sort of lustful activity or anything. It is, as I said, it is a sort of emergency situation. In that emergency situation, there is an emergency provision. According to that emergency provision, a saintly person can come and then have children, have children through the woman. And it was supposed to be only a one-time contact, not some sort of lustful relationship which goes on frequently. And it is supposed to be a very, very pious responsibility. And the man who comes, he should not come very well decorated and in a fashionable clothes and whatnot. He should come in as ugly form as possible. The person who is invited, he has to come in a very, very ugly fashion, because he is not coming for enjoyment. It is not like the first night, or it is not like the honeymoon where the people are very well dressed and then having a drink and whatnot. Not like that. And they are supposed to go do a diksha. The woman has to do a diksha. That means she has to, diksha is what, a vow, let us say, a vow for a period of 1 year. And then for a period of 1 year, she has to avoid all rajasa food. She has to take only sattvika food, and then read some sacred texts, and then make her mind pure. So she has to realize that she is doing a very, very pious act, not some lustful act. She is doing a very pious, her responsibility is to have a child, so that the family will continue, this dynasty will continue. So that was supposed to be such a linked with so many conditions, not something, suddenly somebody comes and then produces a baby and then has some sort of relation with her, and not like that. So then this Satyavati, now she recalls that sage Vyasa who was her own son. Sage Vyasa, if you recall, when she was young and when she was a ferry girl ferrying people across that river Yamuna, great sage Parashara came and then met her, and then she gave birth to a child. So that story we know, I have told earlier. So she recalls, she remembers, yes, that boy, that sage Vyasa is there. Now we can call that boy. Because he is also a sage. Vyasa was such a great sage, such a renowned sage. So then she, in a very bashful manner, but the Bhishma does not know that sage Vyasa is the son of this lady. Bhishma knows sage Vyasa to be a very great man, there is no doubt. But he does not know that he is the son of this lady. So this lady also, for the first time, she is revealing. Because now I have to, you are my only confident person, I have to reveal to you one secret. So she now reveals that secret. It so happened that when I was young, Kadashidaham tatra gataya prathama yavvanam. Prathama yavvanam means immediately after puberty. Prathama yavvanam. Immediately after puberty, I was a young girl. I didn't know, I was innocent at that time when I was ferrying people. And once it so happened that I was taking this gentleman across the river. And then at that time, he wanted me. Uktam janma kulam mahyam. And he said, I am so and so, I am this great Rishi, etc. Then I also told Asmi Dashasute Tyaham. I told him that I am the daughter of a fisherman. But then he said, okay, I am going to give you some boon, and okay, I will give you a child. So what was that boon? That boon was that all that fish smell would go, and then she would be a Yojana Gandhi. She would have spread fragrance for miles and miles, and her virginity is intact. So she could not say no. She could not say no, and she yielded to him. And then she got a baby, Dvaipayana. And in that Dvipa, in that Yamuna Dvipa that a small island in that Yamuna Dvipa, they met, and then they produced, immediately the child was born. And that Rishi took away that boy. So then Parasharyo Mahayogi Sababhuva Mahan Rishihi. So that man, he is now a great Rishi. And that boy now is a very great Rishi. And now he is also called Dvaipayana because he was born in that Dvipa, born in that island. And he is also called Krishna because Krishna Dvaipayana, because he is such a dark man. Probably that Parashara was also dark, we do not know. But then he was such a dark man. Then yo vyasya vedans chaturaha. This lady is telling Bhishma, yes, he is the same man who has edited all the Vedas. And loke vyasatvam apede. So he was called Vyasa also. So his original name was not Vyasa. His original name was Krishna Dvaipayana. So Krishna, because he was a dark, Dvaipayana because he was in that Dvipa, Parasharya because he was the son of Parashara. But now he is famous, very well known as Vyasa. So for Vyasa, all these names are there. We have Dvaipayana, Parasharya, etc. So now she says, now probably we can invite him. We can invite him, and if we ask him, he may accept. So then this Bhishma, immediately after listening to this story, he immediately said that is a very great choice. The moment he heard the name of sage Vyasa, he folded his hands. Maharsheh Kirtane Tasya Bhishma Pranjali Rabravit. When he heard the name of that great sage Maharshi, that sage Vyasa, Bhishma Pranjali, Anjali means folding one's hand. He folded his hands to that to the very idea of that Mahatma and said, yes, he is such a great he is a great man. Dharma arthancha kamancha tri nietan yonupashyati. He knows what is dharma, he knows what is artha, he knows what is kama. And then artham arthanubandhancha. In what situation he knows artha, and its artha means pursuit of wealth, pursuit of worldly success. He knows artha and its consequences. He knows kama and its consequences. All these things he knows. He is such a wise man. It is good that you have thought of him. Let us invite him. So she immediately thought about sage Vyasa. And sage Vyasa, he had told her in the very beginning, even when he was born, you please call me whenever you need Whenever you are in some problem, you can call me. So she called him now, and that sage Vyasa came, and Satyavati, then he told everything to him. She told all these things to him, and then she said, now this is the situation. Our Bhishma, buddhim na kurute patye tatha rajyanushasane. Now this Bhishma is your own brother, because Bhishma is born to Shantanu, and Shantanu's wife is the same Satyavati. So though Bhishma is not born to Satyavati, she is the other wife's son. So she is also, this Bhishma is also like a son to Satyavati. So she says this, she tells Vyasa, this Bhishma is your brother, but he doesn't want to marry, he doesn't want to do this niyoga. Niyoga, I told you yesterday, niyoga is that custom where the relative will cohabit with the woman. So he is not interested in that. Now you have to save this dynasty, otherwise this dynasty will disappear. Then Vyasa says, yes, tasmadaham tvanniyogat dharma muddishya karanam. So keeping dharma in view, dharma muddishya karanam, that is keeping this dharma in view. Okay, aham tvanniyogat, because of your order, ipsitam te karishyami, I will do what you are now asking. Drushtam hyetat sanatanam. Yes, this is also sanatanam. This is an ancient practice. Probably this practice was there because dharma, we should not evaluate, this entire passage, we should not take it, trivialize this particular episode. Because if we just trivialize this episode and then laugh at it, that is not proper. We have to see that the value system changes from time to time. There are two things. That is, one is what is called philosophical truths, like what is Brahman. What is Brahman means that what we call that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, that never changes. The nature of Atma never changes. The nature of Atma is same whether you are in India or in America or Australia or Africa, anywhere. But then dharma can change. Dharma can change from place to place. Dharma in India is different from dharma in America. Dharma in America, now the dharma is a man-to-man marriage, woman-to-woman marriage. What they call this LGBT, etc., etc. But in India, we have not become so modern. So in America, for example, in India, our own India, let us say, about 100 years ago, there was what was called untouchability. It was a social practice, though it is not something sanctioned by religion. We have to again and again, we have to realize that it is not something sanctioned by religion. It is not something done by Lord Krishna in the Gita. So for that you have to read Gita. So this untouchability was a social practice. But then we have got a constitution now, and according to constitution, it is something which is an offense. Similarly, if you take America, about 100 years ago, there was slavery. Slavery was there. Black people could be chained, they could be whipped, and then they were made to work like slaves. They were actually slaves. Now it was slavery only. If you see the history of slavery in the United States, or not only in the United States but in the Western world, you will see many videos on YouTube. So this slavery was there, but then slavery is now an offense. So that means depending on the time, according to the time, the perception of people change. When the perception of people changes, naturally the dharma, the rules also change. So that is what happens. So the rules again, the present day dharma, if we want to say, that dharma is contained in our constitution, let us say. The constitution of India is the dharma for all the people now in India. It has to be accepted as constitution because it is accepted by large number of people. It is made by our own people's representatives. That means thinking about the good, larger good for large number of people. Some people may not feel happy, but then that constitution is for the larger good of larger number of people. And that is something which has to be taken as dharma. And the same constitution from time to time it gets amended. You see the United States Constitution. United States Constitution also it gets amended from time to time depending on the changing values. So like that, if you see, we are now seeing the story of 5,000 years ago, and 5,000 years ago, this sort of situation to preserve the dynasty, and they are making so many conditions and bringing a sage and then with so many conditions. It is not some lustful activity. And these are the points which we have to keep in mind. Then, and also this is apad dharma. As I said, it is something which is an emergency situation. Now this Vyasa says, okay, I agree to that. Vratam charetam te divyau nirdishtamihayanmaya samvatsaram yathanyayam. For samvatsaram means 1 year. For samvatsaram, 1 year, vratam charetam te. Vratam charetam means let them perform a vratam. Vratam means they have to lead a very, very pious life. They should avoid, I was telling you, they should avoid all this Rajasa food. They should take only Sattvika food. And then they have to read some our scriptures and then make their mind pure, and then they have to have that idea in mind that they are doing a very dharmic activity and not something which is a lustful activity. So let them be ready. After 1 year I will come. But then the Satyavati said, no, for 1 year we can't wait, because the kingdom cannot, sadhyo yada prapadyate, we can't wait, because Raja, if a king is not there, then there will be arachakam. Arachakam means there will be a lot of chaos in the kingdom. There will be a lot of chaos in the kingdom if king is not there. So you have to do something urgently. Then, okay, Vyasa says, if that is so, they have to bear my ugliness. Because I was also telling you that the man who is invited, he should also come in a very ugly form, not in a very attractive form. This girl need not be in an ugly form. The girl is in the proper form only, but the man who is invited, he has to be in an ugly form. In fact, they used to put some dark thing also on the face and on the body, and they used to come. So they used to miss. I am saying as though I saw it. I have not seen, but I have only read and also heard from Pandits. So they were supposed to come in such manner. So Vyasa says, Yadi putrah pradatavya maya bhratur akalikaha. Akalikaha means untimely. Now I asked for 1 year's time for that purification of mind. But if you are asking in such a premature way, okay, they have to put up with my very ugly form. The virupatam me sahatam. Virupata means ugliness. Virupatam me sahatam. They have to tolerate my ugliness. Okay, fine. Then yadi me sahate gandham rupam vesham tatha upuhu. And I am also not only ugliness, I have very foul smell. Maybe some sort of foul things they used to apply on the body. That also we do not know. Gandham rupam vesham tatha upuhu. Adyeva garbham kausalya vishishtam patipadyatam. Okay, right now I am agreeing. Let them tolerate. Let them put up with my ugliness, my foul smell and all that. I agree for that. Then this Satyavati, okay, she is happy, and she goes to that girl. That first daughter-in-law's name is Ambika. The second daughter-in-law is Ambalika. So naturally, the Satyavati goes to the first daughter-in-law, Ambika, and she tells her, yes, tells her the entire background. She convinces that lady. Kathamchit dharmacharinim anuniyainam kathamchit dharmacharini. She convinces that lady. She doesn't tell that so-and-so is coming. She doesn't tell that, say, Vyasa is coming and all that. She only says that, yes, you have got one cousin. That cousin will come. So to that extent she tells, and then she convinces that lady. So with this, we have completed chapter number 104. We will see the next chapter tomorrow. What happens at that time? We will see tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.